Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Live. What's up, Mr. Lane Graves? Matthew Weimer. Of course we're going to have a show. You better believe it. Robert Murray's here. How's everything down in Tennessee, buddy? Good to see you. WB Jones. Yeah. Galen Heathcote, how are you, buddy? Doug's in the house. Ed Ranowski. How are you, Ed? Yeah. Ron's back Bassfest. My man. Yeah. Jack Hinkle's here. What's up, Jack? Good to see you, buddy. Johnny Kopp. How are you, John? Good to see you, pal. You probably got a big old stocking full of coal if I know you. That's right. Yes, sir. Bucktail Fishing's here. Mike Hayer. Bob Austin. What's up? Alan Lauer. Yeah. Good to see everybody. Randon Barton's here. Conway. Merry Christmas, buddy. Yeah. Robert Pretz is here. Larry Schaefer. Man, oh man. Great crew here tonight. Good to see everybody stopping in. And I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas day and a Christmas season so far. I know I have. We had a great time with my grandkid. That was awesome, having him hang around. Good cheer, good fun. It was a great time. So Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you so much for stopping by today. Man, we got a great show for you tonight. Wrapping up a year already. Holy crud, man. This is coming quick to the end of the year. We're going to talk a little bit about the end of the season, what happened this past year, what we thought, some of our thoughts about that. We got a great tackle talk section for you. We just got a great show, as always. It's going to be a good old time. Cody Groff, how are you doing? Terry Wells, how you doing, Terry? David Schottlemeyer. Yeah. My name is Mike Acord. This is George Acord. Behind the camera is cameraman Nick. This is Tackle Shop Live. We come at you every Thursday night at 7 o'clock for some great fishing tackle talk, some fishing talk, and whatever kind of business we can get into. Oh, we never know what's going to happen around here, do we, Nick?
Heck no, we go with it.
Oh, man. But I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas from our family to yours, and hope you're enjoying the season. And of course, a Happy New Year coming up. So we made it for another year. That's a good thing.
I'll tell you, Mike, when you said, it came quick, it really did.
Wow.
I mean, it just breezed through.
It really did. I remember it was June, we were talking about things in June, and next thing you know, we're dealing with getting ready for show season. I mean, it's out of control. It's unbelievable. But speaking of show season, Nick.
Oh yeah.
For all you guys that are on here and who don't know, January 10th and 11th is Bassfest 2025. We have Bassfest every year. It's one of the greatest shows of the year anywhere. And we have a great venue for you. We have some phenomenal speakers. We have Greg DePalma coming back and doing some seminars and hanging out with us for 2 days. That's going to be really, really fun. He's always great to talk to. Very personable guy. Answers all the questions. And this year we have a new guy, Chris Johnson, Bass Angler of the Year for 2024. Man, that's exciting.
He's kind of good.
Yeah, we nailed him down. Ish Monroe he had a schedule conflict last minute, forgot about it, and he had to bail out. So we called around and we got Chris Johnson to come. Really excited about having him here and talking fishing. We know we're smallmouth junkies around here, so it's going to be fun to talk smallmouth with him and some of his things that he does. So I'm really excited to see him. Alex Davis is coming back. Man, Alex has been here in the past. He's just a great guy, very cool Southern boy who just loves coming here. He told us on the phone that he was just excited to come back and see everybody again and answer all kinds of great questions. And he's going to be doing a couple seminars for us, and he'll be here for 2 days also. So you guys get to talk with him. Jay Sokrat is coming. I hope I said it right, George. Is that pretty close?
I'm thinking it's close, but I think the proper UP pronunciation would be Securat.
Oh, Securat. Yeah. Yeah. Northern boy, smallmouth guy, angler. What was he? Rookie this year.
He was a rookie of the year, and didn't he have
No, not this year.
Not this year,
No.
but he was. He's a previous rookie.
Yeah,
of the year.
previous rookie of the year.
He won an elite on St. Lawrence.
Yeah, yeah. So he's going to be here to talk fishing, and I'm really excited to pick his brain. He's a young guy. You know, these young guys, man, they have stuff up in their heads that will make my head spin. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he's one of the most consistent anglers on the tour.
Very, very consistent guy. Very consistent guy. So he's going to be great to have him here also. And Gray Buck's coming for Friday. Everybody loves Gray Buck. Gray is just a phenomenal fisherman, and he's on the water almost every single weekend, no matter what. I mean, he fishes locally here around us, and he's always posting stuff on our local lakes and catching all kinds of fish. It's cool about him. He'll fish for anything that bites.
Yeah.
You know, and especially in the wintertime.
Yeah, the other day he posted a picture of his ice in the background.
Yeah.
You know, oh yeah.
I mean, these tour guys are wired differently.
Yeah.
First of all, like, they're not even happy if they're not fishing 2 days a week between events.
Yeah,
That's kind of, it's kind of like, batting practice for them.
Oh, you know it.
I mean,
they practice all the time.
Working on a certain specific thing. I guarantee you, when Gray Buck's out there shooting his content, he's not just shooting his content.
No, he's working on something.
There's one like subtle little tweak to a presentation that 12-hour day is being devoted. Well, I don't know if you can get 12 hours in this time of the year, but
well, last Thursday, Greg DePalma was here, and we were talking with him. He's like, "Yeah, I got to get back. I got to, I'm going to this lake. I'm just gonna, I got to fish. I'm going to fish like 3 or 4 days, between the holidays and everything." So he's been, I know he's been doing all kinds of stuff. He's working on some techniques and sharpening his skills, getting ready for the season.
Well, speaking about Gray Buck too, I mean, he's got a goal this year, and that goal is he moved over to the Bassmaster Opens.
Yeah.
And he's going to try to make the elites.
And guess what? I can't wait to see him there.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him on the elites, but that's a challenge.
Oh yeah.
A huge
That's a challenge. And this year, as we've discussed, they've changed that format a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about it a lot. I don't think it's any easier. As a matter of fact, one of the pros that they interviewed when this first came out said, well, you only have to fish, I think it's the north and the south, or the northeast and the south, whatever, east, west, north, south, whatever it's called. You only have to fish one division. I don't think so. I think you got to fish 2 divisions, because if you have one bad tournament in the division that you're in, wave goodbye to your elite chances, because you have to then finish in the top 40 and go fish the elite bracket. Yes. So if this is where you're at, I'm thinking it's harder.
And against, you're in that elite bracket you're talking about, you're going to have guys that are in the elites that are going to be trying to stay on tour. So that's going to be rough.
Or just jackpotting.
Yeah, or jackpotting.
Yeah.
Not that affects your standings, because your points standings are only tallied against qualified
open guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not guys that are double qualified.
EQ, elite qualifiers.
Yeah, elite qualifiers.
But I'm thinking that you need to sign up for both sides.
Well, it gives you your odds are better.
I read where Jonathan Van Dam signed up for one division, but he liked the St. Lawrence, which was in the other division, so he also signed up for the St. Lawrence. And I'm thinking, might want to get in the rest of them, son, because something might happen. You might have a bad tournament.
Never know.
You never know. Fishing is one of the very few sports where the playing field changes by the minute.
Well, you know what else is interesting about what you're saying? If he would go, because he cherry picked that tournament, he wants that tournament out of that.
He
division.
just loves that body of water.
The thing is, if he wins that tournament, which we know how the Van Dams do up north, and he wins, I think because he only fished one in that division, you don't qualify for the Classic.
No Classic.
So you might as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's when they changed that win and you're in with the little asterisk that said, oh, by the way, you have to fish all the tournaments in that division. That changed the opens.
Yeah.
You know, if you're jackpotting opens, just imagine how freaking bad it would feel to win an open. Yeah. Well, I mean, we know a guy.
Yeah.
Brian Schmidt won the open on Oneida and couldn't get in the rest of them. You know, he had a busy schedule. Yeah. He was fishing the elites.
And they were full.
He was potting around on some of the opens. And guess what? He won the damn thing. And they tried to get him in, but they were full. He missed out on the Classic that year.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not for nothing. That's kind of a big freaking deal.
Yeah. Well,
interesting.
Guess who else is coming? Back again, third year in a row.
I'm not going to guess.
Nick Koosvis.
Nice. Oh yeah.
You know
he's a Bengals fan.
Well, George has been just hounding him horribly for the last 2 weeks, just back and forth banter on football stuff, and it's been fun. But you know,
well, his team has upwards of a 9% chance of qualifying for the playoffs now.
Oh yeah,
I think it's fabulous because it was
2.8
when I first gave him an update.
Well, well, Nick is as some of you guys know, Nick is a absolute stud up north. He catches 8-pound smallmouth kind of regularly up there, and is just a phenomenal smallmouth guy. So he's gonna come and he's gonna do a seminar. He's gonna come in with Megabass, and he is gonna represent Megabass here. He's very knowledgeable, helps everybody out with Megabass. So he's gonna be working for 2 days down here doing that and doing some seminars. So we're really excited to have Nick Koosvis coming back. So
make sure, for those of you who get a chance to talk to him, that you ask him how the Bengals are doing.
Yeah, you got to bust on him a little bit. But it's for all you guys joining in here, we're talking about Bassfest 2025, January 10th and 11th here at the shop. I don't know what you got to do to get here, but just come get here. There's hotels in the area. If you have to stay overnight, we got plenty of hotels. You can call us and we can direct you to the right place to get a hotel room. And it's just a great time. These pros are here in the shop all day. So they're not like they do a seminar and then go somewhere and you can't talk to them. This is, this is something that's very, very cool. You don't see this anywhere. It's a very unique event and everybody has a great time. Not to mention we give away tons of door prizes. We do all kinds of crazy cool stuff. So, it's a good time. Let me get this scumbag off of here. Hang on a second here.
Scumbag alert.
We got scumbag alert. You're blocked. Scumbag.
See you, scumbag.
See it, scumbag. There you go.
Well, let me tell you something else about Bass Fest since we're ramping up. Shopping opportunities. So I recommend that you save all your Christmas money because we're talking about stocking the boat for 2025 season, preparing for your fishing season, and we're going to have some crazy sales.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some awesome deals.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole list of what I will call like either discontinued or closeout stuff that is pre-mo. So
yeah,
save your money, get ready. Yep. It's going to be go time.
Yep, it's going to be a great time. We're looking forward to it. And another nice thing about it, Nick, is we get to see all of our guys who watch the show.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, face to face, get to see them, shake their hand, say
I can't
hi.
wait.
It's pretty cool stuff. So Bassfest 2025, January 10th and 11th. Mark it down on your calendar. I saw another comment on here too that we wanted to talk about, George, and that was, you know, we were talking about the opens and all that kind of stuff, but this time, these people are driving me nuts here. What was I saying, Nick?
We're talking about the opens.
Oh yeah. So what do you think, Nick? They changed it to no co-anglers this year, you know, so it's you know, it's going to be pretty cool.
Well, it's interesting because it really does affect everybody because, you know, when we talked about other things with Bassmasters, it didn't affect everybody. If you don't have a forward facing, it didn't affect you with that. But as co-anglers, most people I know, and I know you guys too, everybody started as a co-angler.
Yeah.
On somebody's boat. And, you know, everybody's going to have an opinion on this subject. And I think it's interesting what your guys' take.
Yeah, I mean, it's multifaceted conversation. Okay, so first of all, it's you know, it's gonna hit people differently. Like co-anglers aren't real happy about it. So you know, you have to keep that in mind. But I see all three sides of it. I spent a lot of time draw tournament fishing, met a absolute truckload of good people. I have some tremendous lifetime friends that I met as co-angler draws. And so you have that little tiny aspect of it, but from a fishing aspect of it, quite a few of our top tour pros today started out as co-anglers. And they were very good at it.
Yeah.
So, you know, as a boater, fishing on the pro side and getting, you know, like drawn out with really good co's, it can be challenging. You know, trying to compete, and it can be very, 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 very challenging. But I don't know that that's a reason to ban co-anglers. But I will say this, you know, if you are a boater and you're trying to qualify for, let's say, the elites, you know, that format that you're going to be qualifying for is a no-co format. So I think some of that comes into play. It's not like, oh, you know, let's get rid of the co-anglers. First of all, there's a financial piece here that Bass, for example, is losing. You know, the co-angler entry fee, you know, that's being lost. But the industry is also hurting from it, because co-anglers are, you know, we notice it in our tackle business. You know, co-anglers preparing for tournaments, tackle sales. So there's multiple sides of this. There's nothing right, nothing wrong.
Well,
to that.
Yeah, there isn't, but you know, I think we had to talk about this the other day, and I just feel like it's not on that level where this is the highest level a co-angler could fish. You know what I'm saying? And it's taken away from introducing people to the tournament life, you know, the tournament style of fishing, you know what I'm saying? And I just, you know, I don't like it. I think it makes an elite series tour. I think it makes, you know, on the MLF side of things, they on their highest level, they shouldn't have them. But this, and I understand what George is saying about how these guys are trying to get in and everything, but it's just taken away from really a highest level of fishing for a co-angler that might spawn into the next, who knows?
Yeah, but it's also for those guys that have been competing as co's, at this level, and we're only talking about the opens, okay? The co's have been eliminated. So this is your cue.
Mm.
This is your cue. If your goal was to learn and then graduate to boater, here you go. Now you have that opportunity. Is it the right thing to do? I mean, from, let's just say, the business side of things,
Yeah.
no. He says yes. I say no. I don't think from the business side of things it's the right thing to do.
No,
I don't think Bassmaster is going to benefit by eliminating co's.
No.
I don't think Susquehanna Fishing Tackle is going to benefit by eliminating co's. But from the tour angler side of things, it is the correct thing to do. I think when you're fishing on the elites, there's no co's.
Yeah.
When you're fishing on the Bass Pro Tour, there's no co's. So now that the Bass Opens have become a mini elite series, and this is strictly from a performance-based comment, there should be no co's.
Yeah.
Co-anglers, I'm your friend. Remember me. We fished many tournaments together. I'm a big supporter of yours. But at this level, it's the time has come to adjust the game. Now, what's left for the co's, Nick?
Well,
who do we got left?
And that's what you got to talk about.
What tours are left?
You got the BFLs.
Okay.
The Costas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing on the Bassmaster side that I'm aware of.
Yeah, well, Bass doesn't have anything else.
No.
They have the opens and the elites.
So you have basically from bottom to top, you have club level.
Yeah.
You have probably federation level type stuff. And then you got the BFLs and Costas. That seems to be about where you can be a co now.
Yeah, I'm still gonna stick with the thing that the opens were the premier elite side of things for the co-angler, puts them at a different level, introduces them to a different level of the sport, and promotes people to go out on their own, saying that are possibly using that to catapult them into professional fishing, and being an actual pro and taking up the boater side of things and becoming, trying to go to that next level.
I think the Costa Tour is perfectly suited for that. The Costa Tour is a very competitive tour.
Oh yeah.
The Costa, now, correct me if I'm wrong,
but you're right. The Costa Tour is a very high level fishing thing, but that's not on the Bass side of things. It's not on Bass side of things.
Obviously.
Huh?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
what do you mean? Obviously, it's not.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
It's MLF.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Costa Tour, there's no requirements or is there to get in on the Tackle Warehouse Tour?
That I don't know.
I don't know if you have to qualify for that tour through the Costas, because that could be the 2-step to, because I know when you get in the Tackle Warehouse Tour, that's the only way to get to the Bass Pro Tour.
Right.
And I think the Costa Tour, I don't think you can just call up and say, "Yo, Boyd, sign me up for the Tackle Warehouse Tour this year." I don't think that works.
No, it doesn't work.
I think it's full. So it's Costa Tour, Tackle Warehouse Tour. So there's for the highly competitive Costa or co-angler that's looking to, go through the progressions. There is your answer.
I would say from my point of view, it kind of sucks in a way because from a boater standpoint, I would much rather be a boater in an open now from a boater standpoint. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
But I think going forward, what we're kind of seeing is you have boater only leagues now. What you're seeing, I think it really opens the door for co's if you start to open up some bigger team tournament leagues, because you really seem to have two types of anglers anymore. You have guys that want to be the pro, they want to be on Bassmasters, they want to be FLW or whatever, the Boyd Duckett League. And then you have guys that like to fish together and they want to be together, they want to fish together. There's potential for a team tournament.
They have that.
A big one?
Big.
They
have numerous tournaments on the Alabama Bass Trail.
There you go.
And they have some of the biggest, baddest tournaments around in Texas. The Brandon Belk Circuit.
But I mean, even something up north here, like there's potential. Because it's funny how we went through like a phase, it seems like. Back in the day, George, you and I and Mike, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had no choice. If you were a co, you showed up to a tournament, you drew a name, and that's who you went with. And we were all fine with that. Or you drew another pro, and that's who you went with.
Well, that's going way back.
So now, then it went to, whereas, I really don't want a co. I really just want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then there was options for that.
Well, they kind of started that whole thing though with the co-anglers down in the federation level, where even in the I don't know so much about the club level, but the federation level, you were it used to be everybody competed against each other,
right?
Then they separated the divisions out, so it's all the way down that level that there's different divisions up through all the ranks.
Well, that was a stroke of genius.
It was.
That actually fed back to the federation. That actually started, on some of the bigger circuits like the BFLs.
Yeah.
But what
it got people
an
used to
awesome idea to have a system. So when you're fine-tuning the co-angler system, okay, there is checks and balances. I'm your marshal and you're my marshal.
Yeah.
Okay. B, I'm not competing against you and you're not competing against me. And that concept is fabulous. And actually is what I think made this whole pro-co thing work.
Yeah.
But as time has a way of doing, and evolution has a way of doing, the price of admission has risen.
Yeah.
Entry fees have had to rise like many other prices have had to rise. So now as a pro and a co, our overhead has gone up quite a bit. And the pro is always double the co.
Yeah.
So now that tariff is pretty high. And there's a lot at stake if you're an EQ angler. That relationship in that boat is all cool, but a good co is going to catch those fish, which let's not mix words here. It's not just that co-angler is catching fish that the boater could have caught. No, I don't really think that's the deal. I think it's the other way around. That co-angler who's really good is influencing the outcome of the day of that boater who's trying to qualify for the elites. When that co-angler starts figuring out something completely different to catch a better grade of fish, now that pro has gotten information. So it's a two-way street here. that co-angler can catch fish that you may have caught, that's questionable. How are you going to prove that? But what you can prove, and it's happened to me more than once, that co-angler figures something out. And let me tell you, by the time you get the second fish in the boat, I'm adjusting. Okay. I mean, who isn't?
I'm glad you brought that up, George, because I think that is something we don't talk about. If you want to make things as fair as they can be, I don't know in fishing that you can ever make it 100% because information and all that stuff outside influences. But inside the tournament days, which are 3 days of tournament, I think in an open, there's 3 days.
Yeah.
There's
two
a lot of
full field, one cut.
There's a lot of influences because I've seen it. I got very lucky to be on a boat a first day of a tournament, and I did really, really well. And, I will say that I was fishing 3 days because I got lucky enough to do very well. And it was like, what were you guys doing? That's not going to happen if you don't have codes.
Right.
Because you're only going to be able to mingle with the guys that you're close with. If you have a roommate, if you have somebody's trying to figure out the lake as well. But codes can absolutely have an influence on, hey, what areas are these guys fishing in? Well, if you're a guy like what I did, I'm like, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. And that's how I dealt with it. But if I would have said, well, all you got to do is go right here, right there. And
yeah, well, over the course of time, you're going to get the full range of that from, I saw, you were fishing with me yesterday, right? Just because you got that orange hat turned around backwards don't mean I don't see you over there, bro. And, that's a unique boat that your boater has. I didn't see that here yesterday either. So, I mean, you got that full range from that, which is basically an act of piracy, which is illegal on the high seas, by the way, Mike. Yeah, pirates can be shot and eliminated.
Yeah.
All the ways back to the other aspect of the co saying, hey, you know what? That was my draw yesterday. I went home and cleaned the slate. Now you're my draw for tomorrow, right. And this is how it's going to be.
But that's really hard with human nature, especially if you start struggling that day or that guy's not doing.
Well, let me tell you something what's going on there. That guy is going to go maybe and follow that co-angler's information. He ain't going anywhere. That guy isn't going anywhere.
And that could be.
He's not going to catch fish and go up, move ahead in the series and move ahead in the opens. He's not going to be doing that.
You're right. But
you know what I'm saying? He is not a true pro.
No, but
he's not going anywhere.
So I would say 5 years ago, it wouldn't matter because you literally had to figure out what the deal was.
Yeah.
But in today's world, and I don't know what people think. In today's world with the forward view taking over, if they're on that bite and the general area, you're on them. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, I fish with a lot of different people who try to do that, and they spin themselves out every freaking time. That's just what happens. If you try to do what somebody else does, it doesn't work. That's like Doc Talk. Doc Talk's been around for how long? You try to listen to Doc Talk, you're just not going to go anywhere, man. You're just one of them guys that's going to be, you're just going to be that guy that just likes to go tournament fishing, and you're not going to go anywhere if you can't figure them out on your own.
No, I agree with you.
But Paul Batter said it greatly. It's integrity. It's integrity of the boat of the boat pro. That's his deal. That's the way I feel about it. But I'm not in favor of it. I think they should have codes up through the opens. That's the way I feel about it. It's good for the sport. It's good for the business. It's good for the whole industry, I think. And taking that away is not promoting next level fishing for guys who might switch over and try to make it to the.
Well, you're right. It's not promoting the growth of the sport.
That's the way I feel about it.
That's a fact. Yeah. Because how many of the pros, or how many in your club, if anybody's out there in a club, how many started as a co and now they have a boat? Yeah. That's the natural progression of most people.
Absolutely.
Same thing. I want to go and try a BFL. I'm going to try it as a co. And next thing you know, 2 years later, guess what? Now I'm going to go fish it as a boater.
Well,
I mean, that's just the way
George
it
and I
goes.
both fish Elite Series tournaments as co-anglers.
That's why they eliminated them.
And and the thing is, when we did it, I did it for a learning experience and as a vacation. It was like a great opportunity to learn and see next level fishing, and I mean, I learned immense amount of stuff on it. I learned a ton of stuff about things I didn't know anything about, and it just catapulted my fishing into another level, and that's the truth. So that's what these guys are going to miss out on, fishing with these high level guys, promoting themselves to the next level of fishing, like we do here on Tackle Shop Live. We don't hold anything back.
Right.
We try to pass along what we've learned.
I also think that co's that have been okay. Let's just flip this real quick here and follow this logic. Co's that have been participating at the open level. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about any other co's. Those are, for the most part, advanced, experienced co-anglers. And what I mean by that is not their fishing ability, but they've worked their way up through the ranks. They've been around the game a while. They've been co-angling for a while. This is a motivation to switch to the front of the boat. Co's that are fishing at local levels still have the same exact opportunities that co's that had fished Bass Opens had. You just doing it on the other circuit. There's no different. You can fish your club level. You can go to the BFL. You can go to the Costa. You can go to the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. There's absolutely no change at all there. And I maintain that the co's on the Bass Open side that have been doing this for a while, they're very experienced co-anglers that if they want to stay as co-anglers will easily adapt to the invitationals.
That's a fact, yeah.
And if they are looking to advance their fishing careers, this is the opportunity to do so. So there's two sides to every story.
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily
no doubt
a bad thing. This is a change.
Yeah.
There's still opportunities to co-angle, which I think is great because I think co-anglers are very important to the sport for multiple reasons. And you can still co-angle at the highest level. You're just not going to do it with bass.
Yeah, and I think there's no right or wrong. I would have liked to have been in and see what they said in the meetings to know what they were thinking, like why. Because, I mean, for years, you probably had a lot of boaters in the open saying, look, we're putting a lot of money out here.
I guarantee it.
They were fishing 9 tournaments. They're basically traveling the world.
Guaranteed.
But,
guaranteed.
From my point of view, I don't have any skin in the game because I'm not fishing them.
Who's gonna? What are they gonna do? Are they gonna get people to ride along with them now, or what are they doing?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, in my theory, that's exactly how it went down. So you're getting a lot of input from the anglers who are spending a lot of money to fish all opens, with quite a few trying to make it to the elites, the EQ anglers. So that pressure's there, but you can't overlook the fact that as soon as Bass agreed to this, they whacked a chunk of income.
Yeah.
So this was purely a business decision for the future of the elites.
Well, and there's a problem with that because fishing in general over the last couple years has been starting to look at the top. We're looking at the Boyd Duckett Tour and the Bassmasters Elites. There's a lot of anglers out there who we're always aspiring to be. They're saying, you know what? It's becoming an elitist sport.
Yeah.
Well, when you make moves like that, you kind of put that projection back in there because you just took away opportunity for 225 anglers. Now, I do think there's also something to say about the forward facing with the whole thing, because forward facing has taken over, and a lot of boaters are going, you know what? I'm really screwing my guy in the back anyway. I mean, that's the way it is. That's what we're all doing. Whereas when you were bank fishing and you were doing the techniques, the spinner baits and all that, you didn't mind a co, because they weren't really affecting you in a lot of different ways, because you were doing your thing, they were doing theirs. I don't know. It's a catch-22. I will say this there, and we've talked about this. There was an angler that got DQ'd in an open, and a lot of that was because some of the information was gathered from the co-anglers. You're not going to have that.
There was more than one angler that got DQ'd in an open.
Yep.
There was an angler from Michigan who was DQ'd from an open for attempting to buy a fish from his co.
Yeah.
Nate Wellman was his name.
Yeah.
And he was a good fisherman.
Yeah.
And his co caught a big 4, and he needed it. And he's like, my dad's got a pocket full of money, $2,500 for you when we come in. And that co-angler hit the dock running, baby. He went right up to the tournament director, and he's like, here's what's going on. And that wasn't the first accusation against Nate. And they booted him.
Yeah.
So a cheater is always going to cheat. Whether there's a co-angler in the boat, it's going to make it a lot harder.
Yeah.
Or not.
So guys, let's just give everybody one last little, if you're a co-angler, what options would you recommend for the ones that no longer have that option?
Well, what do you mean they don't have an option?
They don't have that particular option.
Bass Open.
Right.
Oh,
so
I would go,
you point them to?
I would go BFL. And if you've already been there, done that, I'd go right to the Costas. You know, having fished both a lot, Bass Open and Costa, they're both awesome opportunities for co's. Very similar structure. I mean, it's, apples to apples comparison. The only thing that Bass doesn't have is a BFL level. So you can actually get into co-angling, more local, more affordable. And if you've been there and done that and you're like, no, I want Bass level, great, go to the Costas. Multiple divisions.
Yeah.
And you know what? You want to fish 9 of them? They got 9 for you. And they're great tournaments. They're well run. The payout's good.
Hey, you're still fishing for a boat as a co-angler.
Yeah,
I'd say half the field was the more serious co-anglers when it came to the opens, and the rest of them were like guys like, well, man, they're coming to my area. That's going to be great to fish one of those tournaments. So, you're losing a lot of those guys. Are just,
go to the Costas.
Well, they only wanted to try one in that area and fish. Well, I'm just saying it's the opens. It's the Bass Opens. It's the Bass Opens. It's not the Toyota Series.
Well, Toyota Series is pretty serious.
It's Bass Opens. Yeah, I know. But it's
one of the
Bass
guys
Opens.
is saying here that the Costa payouts are actually better than the Opens for the Co's.
Yeah.
There you go.
Probably are.
But I understand what you're saying,
Yeah,
Mike.
it's the Bass Opens.
It really does suck for you because you guys fished. You didn't fish the Opens. You fished the.
It pissed me off when
elites.
they did. It pissed me off when they got rid of the co-anglers in the Elite Series. But I understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could wrap my head around it quicker.
Yeah, that was kind of rough because they had
Yeah.
They had a number of co-anglers on the Elite Series back in the early days that would tow the boats because the elite anglers on final day had to fish out of league provided boats. They had a bunch of co's that would tow the boats and help out with the what you would call mechanics of setting up an event.
Yeah.
In return for their entry fee in the tournament.
Yeah.
They called them co-pros.
Yeah.
And you know what? The elites and the Bass Pro Tour should not have co's.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
There's too much on the line. There's 100K.
Well, there is.
There's careers.
They're the elites and they're the Bass Pro Tour.
Yeah.
They're the top of the top, the creme of the creme,
So that's why they got rid of them.
Well, without naming any angler, because you guys got to fish with some great anglers in the elites.
It was awesome.
Without naming any, though, when you were on the boat with them,
Yeah.
Did anybody ever make any remark about having cows or not?
Yeah.
They have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The last year that I fished, it was a big thing. They had one more year after that. That was the year George went in my place. I felt bad. I let him have my spot.
No, that's not true.
I-
Skeeter took me.
I felt real bad, so I sent.
They were celebrating some of the great anglers of their career, of their history of the company, and they invited me along.
But that last tournament that I fished, it was very, very prevalent. Very prevalent.
Yeah, they didn't want you on the boat.
And everybody was saying it. Everybody was saying it.
Wow.
And I agree. And I actually agreed, because some of those guys were super ultra aggressive.
I totally agree.
Those co-anglers, super ultra aggressive. I wasn't that way. I was respectful for what they were doing. And, I went at it a totally different way. I was successful, but I went at it as a totally different direction. I didn't, many times where I sat down and watched for hours.
Absolutely.
And just got my fish.
Tell us what an ultra aggressive co would be like.
Well, he fished the whole entire time, and he was good. And when he got on something, he freaking
put it to him
big time.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that going on.
That's not cool. These guys are fishing for livelihoods.
There was a lot of it going on when they they pounced, man. When it was time to pounce, they would pounce and catch the fish, a lot of fish.
Yeah.
I mean,
if a guy made a mistake with the boat control for 1 second,
he was on it.
All of the ones that we fished there was a lot of sponsor entries. So we got in through sponsors, and you were still competing for the same prizes, but like my first day on Lake Erie, I had 3 tanks. I was good. I wrapped my rods up and sat down, and my pro's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm done, bro. I got my 3 swimming, and I'm good to go."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. It's going to take us almost 3 hours to get back. You need to catch your fish because, this ain't no joke."
No, because you realize for these guys in the opens who are trying to qualify for the elites, you can't have a bad day. They can't afford a bad day.
I used it for what it really was. And for me, it was an educational purpose with some fishing attached to it, but it was educational purpose, and I was able to fish.
You could have never got that anywhere else.
No. And, fishing with the people that I fish with, the top shalons, the goats, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Want me to
No,
drop
please
some names
don't.
on it?
Please don't.
But, so, I mean, you never would have had that, you never have that opportunity. The only way you have it now is if you win a contest and go out and fish with them.
Right.
So it was very unique, and it was awesome that we experienced it.
But we were still going to work on Monday.
But the opens, that a lot of those guys trickled down into that. So you had an opportunity to jump in the boat with one of them. And I don't know how many times I've heard stories from customers who said, "Man, I had a lifetime experience. It was the greatest thing ever. And, it was just so cool to fish with those guys." And, they've just star-studded, crazy. And they were elevated to a totally different level of fishing.
Well, and you guys built some nice relationships.
Yeah. But that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It was just a springboard. It's a springboard for guys to fish with people that they never would ever be able to fish with, have an opportunity to draw the right guy. You don't know, you don't know who you're going to get like in any tournament, but
it was a great experience, but the right thing to do was to eliminate the coast.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And I'll probably, start feeling better about the opens shutting it down. But right now I'm not. I'm feeling bad about the co-anglers the co-anglers who haven't done it yet, who wanted to do it and who wanted to have that opportunity to fish with these guys and learn something. I'm still sour about
Well, don't
it.
forget they can fish the coastas.
Yeah, but they're not fishing with some of that trickle down guys from the
they are definitely
from the elites.
They are definitely. There's guys that jump in those tournaments all the time.
Is there co's in the Fat Cat Newton League?
No.
And there's no league underneath that in their series.
Nope.
Okay.
That's one and done.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a neat conversation. We had a great conversation about it the other night. We thought we'd roll it over into the show. And It's just another side of business side of fishing.
Ever changing.
Ever changing. But guess what else we like to talk about here at Tackle Shop Live, Nick?
Tackle.
That is tackle. And that's what we're going to do right now. This is our tackle talk. Yeah. Let's get this show on the road. We are the tackle shop around this area, and we love talking tackle. And George, what do you got, man? What do you got? You got all kinds of things going on over here.
I do.
What is going on?
Well, every week I try to pick out like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 like new exciting products.
Yeah.
And we have lots of those.
Yeah.
We have lots of those. We have all kinds of new and exciting products. Too many to mention. We're going to go over them all.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I find myself waxing nostalgic. Can't help it. Dropping back and into the old year that went past. And I thought, what was some of the highlights of Tackle Talk? And how did it pan out? And I thought I would involve you and Nick. I didn't tell you guys about this because, that's how good TV's made. Okay. And I'm all about the good TV. So let's just get that right. Don't get it twisted. So I was thinking, of all the products that we reviewed and what was different a lot? What changed things a little bit? A lot. All right, we're going to have to narrow this down because I ain't got all night.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, pick a half a dozen. Well, I can't do that.
Yeah.
All right, well, pick less than 10. Well, I'll try to do that. So now you get the gist of Tackle Talk tonight. So I'm going to give you a moment to run out to your fridge, sample the finer things in life.
Oh, by the way, to all the people that brought us the finer things in life.
Yes.
Not only for over the holidays and Christmas, but all year long. Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
We appreciate it very,
the list
very much.
is long.
The list is extremely long, and we really appreciate you guys.
We do.
It means a lot.
All right. So I'm just waiting for everybody to go out to their fridge and get their beer.
Jeez.
Okay. Y'all back now? Good.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is 2024 Tackle Talk Innovation Awards, also known as the Innovies. You'll be seeing this every year.
All right, what do you got here?
All right, I got. Let's go. I have the 6 Cents treble head, and I have the Buckeye Lures freestyle head. And, where I'm coming from here, people, I want you to work with me. We all spend a lot of time with a small boot foot swim bait, like this little dipper here, or even a skinny dipper, or dare I say a 3.3 or a 3.8 Kitech, kind of famous. We spend a lot of time of it. I would venture to say that almost everyone on this feed, watching the show tonight, working here, we have 1 or 2 tied up at all times, and usually on a jig head, and that works great. But 6 Cents came out with this treble head where we screw the bait onto the head. You'll see that bait screw there. Bigger grade, bigger diameter, which gives more holding power. Okay. And then we thread the line through the head. Look. freestyle. So a couple things happen here. Okay, now remember, we're coming back to this. We broke all this down on the show, but how does it really work?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Your hookup ratio is ridiculous. The life cycle span of your bait, 3 to 5x.
Yeah.
These are undeniable things.
No.
We have experienced it.
Well, the beauty of it is we get instant feedback.
Yeah, I mean,
in here at the shop,
our customers have said the same thing.
They're the ones who really put it to the test and really showed us what it was all about.
So your hookup ratio, right? Your snag ratio is down because your hook's not on the bottom. So you can slow roll, you can bang bottom, you can crawl bottom. Your hookup over grass, your hookup ratio is incredible, and the life of your bait. So that is the treble head from 6 cents. Now we have the Buckeye Lures Freestyle head, and there's others out there on the market. Now, who copied who? I don't know. Who cares? Who cares who copied who? But this bad boy, same concept, but it's not a line thrill. So we have treble hook on split ring. But you can also move the split ring up top and hook it in the top the same way. Just put 1 point in there. So that made my list because it worked well.
Yep.
It was as advertised.
That was the big thing. It saved, for a lot of our customers, they couldn't believe that how many fish they got out of each bait. They caught a lot more fish out of each bait.
That was as advertised.
Yeah, as advertised.
The Buckeye Lures Freestyle head, the 6 cents treble head.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. All right. Now, next up, actually kind of came out last year with the Mulletron from Z-Man. And then, of course, this year, we just talked about it a couple weeks ago, was the
Shad bait. Shadtron.
And I don't have any up here to show you up close and personal, but they're line through harness baits, free sliding.
Yep.
And they're Elastec. So basically you have a swim bait this size. I know I should have been a little better prepared, but that's what happens in the real world. And they're line through. So you can run the line out the back. You can run the line out the belly. They're free sliding on the line. They're line through. They're Elastec. The Mulletron was great. They're wedge tail as opposed to a boot foot. So yeah, just home run. So the Shadtron's new. You're asking, how can that be a home run? Well, because the Mulletron was, and the Shadtron's got a better profile.
Yeah.
So that is, yeah, here we go. Here's a Mulletron right here. Now just picture a wider profile, and you have a Shadtron. Okay, maybe next year on the New Year's Eve show, I'll do a better job. Maybe not. But to me, those are game changers because I only have one Mulletron, and I have caught a truckload of fish on that thing, from stripers to smallmouth to largemouth. And plus, they skip. You can be the worst skipper in America and skip that thing because of that wedge tail. That tail does not grab the water.
Yeah.
That's a skipper. That hook in the back is on a free slide. Now on a Shadtron, you can run that hook out of the belly, put a treble hook on it, and fish it like the bait I just showed you. Maybe I should have rethought that whole thing. The mag draft. Not new. Been around a few years. Has a great reputation. If you haven't heard of it, it's because you don't bass fish. Why are you even on this channel? I don't know.
That's a little harsh.
It's true. This is, and I'm just going to say it, my hands down pick for the best all around swim bait ever made.
Yeah, definitely does what it's supposed to do.
Feel free to debate.
It definitely does what it's supposed to do.
Well, and George, some of them colors that came out this year are pretty good.
Colors are awesome. This is my color right here. Albino pearl. Mag draft has a magnet in it that holds the hook in place fairly well. It could be better. I usually take my hook and there's a slit in the belly. I put the hook in the slit in the belly and fish it like that.
That works really well.
I'm treating you like a co-angler, Bob Austin. But not as bad as Umberto. That's a co-angler for the ages. This bait is, I can't say enough about this. This easily made the list. And guess what? Next year, this will make the list again. I'll be better prepared with my other choices, but this will make the list. So just next year, if you can't tune in, just fast forward through whatever and go watch the segment on the mag draft.
Hey, Mike, I got a hell of an idea here. So, we're going to be fishing the bay again this year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Our little deals.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have a special guest tournament partner for George. And I already know who it's going to be. We got to find him.
Yeah.
It's going to Umberto.
That ain't going to work out well. So I like to fish this on 15 to 20 fluoro. Most of the time, 15.
Yep.
I fish this on a medium heavy to a heavy, just a standard. I use a Zodius a lot, or a Poison Adrena, or an X Pride. And I just can't say enough about how freaking awesome it is and how many big fish get caught on it. It skips well. It swims well.
It's awesome.
It's freaking awesome.
It is an awesome bait.
Now, the future is going to bring some different things with this. There's some other sizes that are going to be coming out.
Everybody wants to know when the 5-inch is coming out.
Well, there was a 5-inch run in the U.S. The 5-inch is a Japan-only size that's only occasionally in stock.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yep. And I would recommend you buy a lot of them when they come in. Every once in a while, when they're short striking this and you switch up to the 5,
it's amazing.
It's pliers time.
I don't think we have any more of them, do we?
Well, we don't.
Ours are all.
But I do.
Oh.
There's that.
Mine are all tore up.
There's that Shadtron, which we did a huge breakdown on. That's line through here and line through here. That's a bad boy. That's a batter boy. This might prove out to be like this, but this is the king of the hill. And again, the opinions of this show are solely based upon the person doing the talking. That would be me.
Yeah. Okay.
That was fun, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the 2024 makes the list for greatness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him not making the list in 2025 because other than the dead of winter, I fish that thing every day I go fishing. Maybe somebody else will do the show next year. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about something here that's a little bit off the radar screen. And I say that because I don't see a ton of people buying these. It's the Fat Senko. So I want you to think mag, trick worm, mag, finesse worm, mag, ultra vibe speed worm. In other words, the mag worm and how effective it is. And then I want you to think about why you're not fishing a fat Senko, because I am.
Mhm.
I don't fish a Senko often. But when I do, if it's windy and it's grass involved, it's a mag, a fat.
I like it, George. I think it's a mistake if people, and I said this from the beginning with that bait right
You
there.
caught more fish on it than anybody here.
I'm telling you right now, that bait right there is a great bait because I always like to add a little like 8-ounce weight to my Senko.
Absolutely.
And with that bait, I don't need to.
It's heavy.
So now I get the natural action of the bait because I was taking it away when I was adding that 1/8 ounce.
Plus, you can wacky rig it.
I love it.
You can Nico rig it. You can straight Texas rig it.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So guess what? My list.
That's a great one.
Fat Senko makes it.
I like it. I need it.
And I want to thank everybody for watching Tackle Talk all year. You know what I mean? Because we kind of get to express our opinions here a little bit.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate people watching it. And you know what else I appreciate? The feedback that we get. It's not always good. Sometimes there's some bad feedback about Mike. And every once in a while, there's bad feedback about Nick.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck?
And, you know, we deal with that because we're professionals. Okay.
Mike, isn't that something? There's never any bad feedback about George. What's going on here?
It's amazing.
Somebody's getting paid off.
I don't know, man.
Fix is in.
I don't know. They don't know him.
Keep that good feedback coming, people.
No, but you're right, George, because the feedback, we take it. We do read it as we're going through it.
We do.
And we're like, hey, it keeps things going.
Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tackle Talk is what this show's all about. I mean, it's about breaking down lures, it's about breaking down tackle, it's about talking about how we fish tackle and how we rig it and what we do with it. And, you know, some stuff we do is different than what other people do. That's what Tackle Talk's always been. And I think that's why everybody really likes it. Plus, honestly, if you're a fisherman and you're kind of like watching this show, you're on that tackle junkie level.
Yeah.
You know, you're our kind of people.
It's a mandatory section.
It's
of Tackle Shop Live.
It's a place where all of us junkies can come together and get a fix.
Well, and not only that,
scratch that itch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's a
Y'all
factor.
got some of them Senkos over there?
I think there's something about it that a lot of people don't understand too. Without us showing you on Tackle Shop Live what's new out there, many people would have no idea. And then you give ideas of why and when you'd want to try these things. Most people wouldn't even think about it.
Well, you know, we learn from the best. We share information. Yeah. I mean, it's all part of it.
All part of it.
We also spend a shit ton of time on the water.
Yep.
You know, and we've learned some things ourselves. So great stuff. Now the 4-inch, there's a 4-inch fat Senko, and there's also a 5-inch fat Senko. There's actually a 3-inch fat Senko, which is very popular with the Ned rigging crowd. That's not what we're talking about tonight. These are much bigger baits. Guys, so if I had to pin you in the corner and ask you to pick one bait to fish every day you went fishing for the rest of your life, I'm pretty sure I know what the answers are going to be, but one bait, you can only ever have one bait for the rest of your life.
That's a tough one.
One bait.
Mike, you go first.
Well, I have two in mind.
Well, I want one.
Yeah. I'd probably pick a chatterbait.
That is the correct answer. You don't even need to answer now.
That's where I was going to.
You wouldn't say Senko?
No, it was gonna be rough for me because I was between a chatterbait
and a Senko
and a jig, actually.
Oh, shoot. No.
Well,
I'm
if you say
chatterbait and
Senko, you're off the freaking show.
I'm chatterbait and Senko.
Boom.
So, but I'm with you.
But I like power fishing, so I like chatterbait.
Big time game changer in the chatterbait world was the Mini Max.
Oh yeah.
That freaking thing caught a lot of fish, didn't
Hey,
Nick?
grab me a full sizer over there. The Mini Max chatterbait came in and caused a scene and became a just massive addition.
I was going to give you this one, but we know where that ended up, so I'm going to give you this one here.
Purple vein.
Now, fellas, settle down. Blade size. Now, I want you to notice that the skirts are exactly the same size. And I also want you to notice that I like to run a smaller trailer on this. That's a 3-inch Zaco. And key important element here is when I run this 3-inch Zaco, I trim the hell out of that skirt because it kills the swimming action of that Zaco. Now, I'll also run a little dipper on there, and you can leave that skirt big. But the Mini Max has the very subtle vibration, very subtle body roll. The best trailer, we got a question here from Alan Lower. What's the best trailer from the Mini Max? That's an outstanding question, Alan. This is a 3-inch Zaco. It's a junior Zaco. I do want to trim that skirt back for that. Needs a little haircut.
Little Dipper.
Little Dipper. The 4-inch Swing Impact Kitech. And the 3.5-inch missile bait Spunk Shad.
That's a good choice.
Is really, really good on here.
Yeah.
What you don't want to put on here is anything that has enough tail action to stymie the bait. Because then basically what you have is an expensive jig head.
Yeah.
This bait is all about the trailer. Well, that's not true. It has to be the right trailer. It can't overpower the bait because you'll just kill it. You'll kill the bait. Yeah. Which we learned.
Yeah.
When we learned the Mini Max.
Well, the Mini Max got a lot of bites that chatterbait didn't get. It was a number one. It was a good cleanup bait, and it was a bait you threw when the chatterbait just wasn't getting it done. You could get it done with the Mini Max. Kind of weird to say that, but it was more subtle. It's more subtle. Still vibrates hard, but it's
true.
It's subtle.
Very true.
But it gets the job done when the chatterbait didn't work.
You know where else I really think it thrives is in crystal clear water. Post spawn, crystal clear water. That nasty September time frame, crystal clear water, all them little bitty freaking shad around. This thing really seems to shine in those instances. And when it doesn't shine, is the opposite of that. Dirty water, high water, windy, no. When they're eating a jackhammer, keep this in the box.
Now, let me ask you something. We got jackhammers, we got the Mini Max, we got the new Evo Tungsten, and the list goes on. Is it at the point now, maybe you're already there, where you have multiple rods now with different, jackhammers or anything else on it?
That ain't new.
No, that's something you're doing?
That ain't new.
Well, we've been running like 3 rods. A lot of times will be rigged up with chatterbaits on it with all different trailers and different things. But the Mini Max, I don't like a medium heavy for it. I like a medium. Yeah. You can cast a lot better.
You can
control it a lot better.
But
Paul Batters was asking about line size on it.
That's going to depend because you have a quarter, a 3/8, and a half.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I'm trying to think how to say this. I guess with the heavier ones, just going after the size in the same cover that I would with other things, then nothing really changes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing really changes. But fish in the river, you can go to that medium and go to a 12-pound line, and it'll do a great job for you.
Very true. I don't now the 1/4 ounce mini max.
I haven't
Full
thrown it.
disclosure, I don't fish. I love it. I love the 1/4 ounce mini max. We have a ton of people that fish mid to bigger streams, creeks,
Yeah,
small rivers, whatever you want to call them. That 1/4 ounce mini max fills that void.
it does.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
In the bass world that we fish in, which is anywhere from a natural lake to a tidal water to the Susquehanna River, we're fishing the 3/8 and a half. And I agree with Mike 100%. The only difference is I don't use 12, I just use 15, but we're basically at the same place. Really good. The Mini Max made the list because, just when you thought you couldn't make another chatterbait, they made another chatterbait. And guess what? They're not done making chatterbaits. That bait is a player. So it made the list.
And like I said, getting back to the feedback from our customers, we get to get that feedback right away in the shop, not only from what George and I do, but get all that different style of feedback. And it's funny how the Mini Max caught fish post spawn, low clear water, summertime. It just kept on catching them and catching them. When everybody was struggling with chatterbaits, that thing just kept catching them.
Fall
and catching them early fall. That pressure time of the year. Nick, when you were pounding them at a really tough lake early in the year in the grass around here, and you were catching them on that white Mini Max, you were doing well on it.
Actually, I'll tell you where I was doing really well with it too was down at the flats.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There was really tough days,
yeah,
where everybody's throwing a jackhammer, and we're like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
No, when you see what people are doing, and they're not catching them, you're not catching them. It's time to change stuff up.
Yeah.
And then we went to the Mini Max, and next thing you know, we're catching fish, and everybody else is like, what are they throwing?
Yeah.
Well, they think we're throwing a jackhammer.
Yeah.
That little subtle difference.
It has a much, much softer vibration. As a matter of fact, you got to kind of pull on your rod to really feel if the blade's still kicking sometimes.
Yeah. It was a great addition to the chatterbait family. It filled a void. It wasn't, I think all they had was that little 1/8 ounce, and then it went right into the chatterbait size. And now they filled that void in there, and it really covered that well.
That was smart.
Made the list, boys.
And it definitely was worthy of that.
Made the list.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing that made the list, before we get into the hardware, because I got some hardware that made the list. I was trying to think about line, because line has just been going crazy. And, I don't think very many people are onto this yet. I know I'm really not dialed into it, but it's been around for a long time, and it's sinking braid. And now sinking braid has become a thing with all the forward-facing guys, with all the finesse guys, because of the more direct contact that you have with your bait. And what I noticed is, with my sinking braid experience, which is slight, you have a even more direct straight line contact than you do with even regular braid. So I'm thinking, you know what? All Might, you made the cut.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very unique product. It's super small diameter. It's, for years and years and years, all braid was made out of like Spectra, Microdyneema fibers. There's some companies now that are making line out of this Isanus fiber, which is much smaller. And this is one of them. And it has a core that has the same specific gravity as water, so it sinks. So All Might made the cut for 2024.
Yep.
We'll see how this sinking braid phenomenon transitions. I don't see anyone who is using it from stopping using it. So we'll see.
No, we were talking with Skeeter Steve today, and he fished it extensively this year.
Oh yeah, he's big on it,
and he's going to put it on a couple more of his reels for those types of applications. It's not for every application, but the stuff that he's doing, that more finessey kind of stuff, he loved it, absolutely loved it, and that's good feedback from him.
Yeah, he's throwing the 16.5 pound.
Yeah.
Which, again, because of the small diameter.
Yeah, it's super thin.
He does a lot of finesse fishing with it. So,
yeah.
Check it out.
Yep.
All right, on to the hardware.
Nice.
So, I got a reel here I want to go over with you. It's a Daiwa reel, which we've gone over with you. And it's the new 25 version of the Tatula SV TW, which came out at ICAST, which we had in stock for a long time now. We've done a complete, thorough review on it. We had Chris from Daiwa zoom in and do a thorough review on it. So you can go back and see that. But it made the 24 list because of two things. For the price of $219.99, the performance level that you're getting is insane. This has almost every feature of their Zillion. It has a set of quality gears in it. But the biggest thing that I've noticed with people buying this reel is almost bulletproof from a casting perspective. If you have any struggle with consistently casting, backlashing, if you're not that good of a caster, this reel is very, very hard to backlash. Very, very hard. You have to, if you backlash this consistently, then bait casting and maybe fishing is not for you, because this thing is bulletproof. Okay.
It really is. It's fun to teach guys how to bait cast.
And we're sorry that the sport turns out not to be in your vein, but this right here gets it. This thing is a simple, it's quality. It made the cut. There's a lot of reels out there, okay? When I'm thinking hardware, I'm thinking about a lot of damn reels. I mean, the cases we're standing behind right here alone, the Shimano cases, there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
Full. So, I mean, there's a Daiwa case. There's a Lose case. They're all great products, but I had to pick a couple, okay? I got all night.
Yeah.
That bad boy's bad. And the other thing that 2024 will be forever remembered for is BFS. BFS blew up. BFS got crazy. BFS is fun. Bait finesse system. So I went through the BFS options and I said, okay, let me look at sales. Let me look at bang for the buck. And Shimano owns this, by the way. Sorry to everybody else who has great products. But Corrado 6.8 light BFS, $179.99. Carbon reel seat, carbon tape, infinity tape construction, super strong. Don't let the word light fool you. It's got a ton of backbone. You can fish all your finesse stuff on here, all your BFS. It's got a sign on it.
You can take that off to go fishing with, though.
Corrado BFS reel. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, I really like yeah, okay, you can. But guess what? I'm going off of 2024. Bang. I just got done telling you the other reels are great, okay? So you can't have them. They can't be on the show. I can only have one. This is the one.
Yeah.
This is the dominant performer of 24. Can't argue with you on that. Is the Daiwa options great? No, they're fantastic. We've done casting studies on them out front here. They're great.
Yeah.
This won. So we're going with the Corrado BFS. One of the very few magnetic control reels they have because of the weight of the spool. Bulletproof, bomb-proof on the Corrado. Come on. I mean, that is some sexy stuff right there.
That is.
Look at that. Look at that spool.
You know, it's neat. It's neat. It's neat the way BFS took off and who's fishing this stuff. It's a whole range of people who are fishing BFS and who are getting into it. You got guys who just fish small lures and small tackle that want to do bait casting instead of just throwing a spinning rod all the time. You have those guys doing it a lot and loving it and jumping all over it. But you also have, you know, guys who just want to fish light tackle that don't want to use a spinning rod anymore. You know, they want to fish the rivers, the lakes, the stream, you know, the lakes around the rivers, and they just want to scale down and do it with a bait casting rod and throw a Ned rig on it, you know, and throw a small top water or throw a small jerk bait or something that you would normally throw on a spinning rod. They like the bait casting profile. Big. Out west, huge in trout fishing. California. I mean,
whoa.
It's
we don't really talk about California on this show.
Well, one of our good friends, you know, is a big time trout guy with BFS, and it's he was telling me that out there the fly fishermen on the days when they go fishing for a weekend and the days it's really super windy, they can't really do the fly rodding really well. They're jumping over to BFS and taking over with BFS. You're starting to see a lot of jerk baits and top waters and crankbaits and all the baits that go along with BFS. So it's a real deal. It's something that's pretty cool.
Well, it's interesting.
It's not just a stream thing. It's not just a light.
It got a lot of traction this year. Got enough traction to make the list.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I had that on my list actually.
Did you?
Yeah. Yep.
That's incredible.
You done with your list yet?
I'm done with my list. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What do you got, Nick? What technique or what thing, you know, that really caught your...
So, I mean, some of them were what George said. I mean, George has a great list. There's no doubt. But there are 3 baits that just cleaned house for me this year, other than the Senko. I mean, Senko just does well.
Yeah.
And the chatterbait. But I'm looking at the Nori's front flapper.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
there ain't no way you're not looking at that.
I have to.
That was your bait, baby.
That thing, and Mike, you know.
Oh, I sat in the back of the boat and watched it all happen.
And GDP knows.
Yeah, a couple of times.
I mean, there just ain't nothing I can say about it.
Yeah, for sure.
That bait there did me right over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a simple bait.
Yep.
But it catches them. And, you know, it was funny because when Greg was with one time and I said, Greg, I'm going to throw this bait. He's like, you know, you could pretty much throw anything like, oh, I'm sorry, George. And it catches them. And he's like, holy heck. Yep. That's it right there. That's an awesome bait.
I don't know what it is about it that
it catches them.
I mean, I was throwing a sweet beaver right behind you now.
Yeah.
My sweet beaver flat out catches them.
Yep.
And that thing was, I don't know if it's the scent in it. I don't know if it's the legs are a little thinner. I don't know.
So my thought of it when I first got it. Now,
it is, the body is a little smaller.
Yeah, it's more finesse.
It is a little bit more finesse as a flipping bait.
So when George first said something to me this year about, hey, you might want to check Nori's out. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grab a pack.
Well, we were like, listen, Nick, we want you to fish this.
Yeah.
We were like, we want you to fish this and kind of see what, you know, get us going on this bait. It was new to the shop here. It wasn't a lot of people in the area throwing it.
Nope.
And anytime we kind of try to introduce something to our area, we get our key guys to try to throw it and see what happens. Well, you did. You took a couple packs and you went down, and all of a sudden the next week at Tackle Shop Live, you were like, yo,
I'm telling you,
this thing, I slayed them on this thing.
And then we call lunker.
And then you and I went down and fished a tournament, and it just caught fish that nothing else was catching them.
Yep.
And then we went down again and fished another tournament and slayed them on it again. It's just, and then you fished a couple of deals around and you caught fish on everywhere you went.
Raystown, Blue Marsh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that bait there, I mean, I've talked about it over and over. I hope everybody's listening or watching gives it a good chance, because it's everything I said it is.
Yes, it is. And I saw it happen.
Yep.
For sure.
Now, the other bait that I'm going to say is, you know, something that a lot of people are already throwing here, and that's going to be the scented jerk shad. You know, if you're using any type of forward facing, or you're just, you know, trying to Demiki rig or anything like that, that's a staple.
Yeah,
that's a staple.
I caught a lot of fish for a lot of people.
So many people.
Yeah.
But there's one here that I don't know if a lot of people heard of. Now you guys have, because it was hard to get a hold of this year. And that's going to be the drift fly. That thing catches them. It looks weird. You know, some people are going to go, what?
It's got that lip on it.
How do I even work this?
What a great idea.
I'm telling you, what you want to do with that bait, you don't want to overpower it. You want to use a very light jig head, and you want to keep it above the fish, and you want to be able to work that thing a little bit.
What's your maximum weight on your jig head?
I'm not going big at all. I'm going like 16th to an 1/8 ounce.
1/8 ounce max.
That's where I'm at. I mean, if you got to go heavier than that, you start to take away from what that bait does, which what I like about everything you guys talk about. If you look at the All Might line, if you look at the fluoros that are out there, everything is geared towards getting the most realistic bait presentation that you can get. And with that drift fly, I mean, you pair that All Might with like a 7-pound fluoro, 6-pound fluoro, you got to be in that range, or you start to take away from the action of these baits.
I found that drift fry works in extremely shallow, clear water.
Yep.
With that little jig head, because it's got that rock to it. It rocks like a swim bait that doesn't have a paddle on the tail.
Yep.
So you don't have the vibration, but you have the rock.
Yeah.
And it's just like a drawing power.
Well, you
can fish that thing in 3 foot of water.
You can. And
2 foot of water.
I know that, because the one day I'm with Greg, and you know, nothing's really working. And Greg's like, Nick, I got this bait in there if you want to try it. He goes, it's one of those things like, hey, try it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm not afraid to throw anything. Yeah. I don't know what it does. I don't really, whatever. I throw it out there, and I'm like, I don't know. You know, it's something different. Looking at that little bill on the front.
Yeah, it's weird.
Next thing you know, I keep throwing a little bit, and I just slaughtered him that day. And he was just like, holy crap. We were in anywhere from 1.5 foot to 15 foot. And if you got it in front of those fish, they never seen it before.
They ate it.
And they just had to have it. So for me, those 3 baits, along with the stuff that you showed, George, really helped make 2024 a great season.
Well, a lot of the baits that were on my list are not necessarily what's usually tied on my rod. It was just stuff that shined from tackle talk,
innovation.
From the time we did tackle talk until we had a chance for it to prove itself.
Yeah.
That was like my list.
Well, I will put one more thing on my list that I think is going to shine for 2025. And that is the Evo tungsten. I think that's going to be.
I like that.
When you and I were down there on day one, and we got, as soon as you crank that handle, it's like.
And you're talking about the Evo tungsten chatterbait.
Chatterbait.
Yeah.
And as soon as you crank the handle, you're just like, whoa, this thing's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had a couple of days, full long days throwing that bait now, like really committing to it. Shallow, mid depth, deeper, which really that bait shines in deeper. And I'm really liking it. Now, is it going to completely replace my beloved jackhammer? No.
Yeah.
But when you're a little deeper, you can take and retrieve that bait and it doesn't lift. You can control that deeper depth range a little better. I did catch most of my fish on it shallow and using a 3/8 ounce size. I just used a little higher rod position. I tell you,
Yes, exciting.
I really like it so far.
Well, that's why I asked you guys about, are we at the point now where we have multiple rods? Because in my mind, I really fell in love with the Mini Max, the jackhammer. I mean, you got to have.
Yeah.
And now with the Evo tungsten chatterbait, it's like
Yeah.
I'm almost at the point where it's almost like crankbaits or anything else. I got to have multiple options at any time.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's the way that bait is. It's so good that that's what it's about. I'm going to shift gears on you a little bit with my options here, because, you know, I think 2024, not that it's new, but it brought on this controversy challenge.
Whoa.
It brought on
Always going controversial.
well, it did. It brought on a lot of controversy. It became spotlighted. You know, it became you know, in the view of a lot of people, and a lot of discussion was on it. And that's the forward facing sonar. You know, like it or not, there was more forward facing sonars sold this year than any other year. You know, it kind of came to its peak this year. There's a lot of people that hate it. There's a lot of people that love it. There's a lot of people that don't even know what the hell it is. But it sparked a ton of conversation. It sparked a ton of controversy. So our whole year, if you go back and listen to Tackle Shop Live for this whole year, it's in every friggin' show.
Of course it is.
The words forward facing is in every show for all of our shows this year, because that's how powerful it became, and that's how much everybody talked about it.
Well,
Not only from the technology of the unit itself, but all of the baits that came out, and the jig heads and the rods and the line and the techniques. I mean, it's just it was unbelievable.
well, let me ask you this. Is there any single day that we go fishing that box doesn't pay some form of importance in that day?
No, it definitely it's become a major tool for a lot of things. You know,
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, boys.
you know it. We talked about this a couple different times, you know, about the is it necessary or not? You know, it's just another form of sonar that you can put on your boat. But my thing is here with this conversation is how controversial it has become in fishing. I've never seen it get to this level. You know, I've seen controversies on things over the years, the Alabama rig and how that was the end of the world, you know, and all this kind of stuff. But this is, I mean, this just goes to a whole new level.
Well, Mike, you know, there was a phrase that's been overused in fishing industry called game changer.
Yeah.
This is the biggest game changer we've seen. And if you ask me, the conversation we had earlier with the Coes,
Yeah.
I think it has something to do with it. It changed that much of the sport.
Yeah.
And I will say from my fishing this year,
Yeah.
it accounted for more than I probably, now that I'm thinking about it, it accounted for so many fish. It's not funny, because whether you're fishing in 70 feet of water or you're fishing grass, you can change things up to absolutely put the odds in your favor in so many scenarios.
Yes.
Almost to the fact that for me personally, I don't use my 360 as much as I use it. I don't rely on it as much as I used to.
Well, you know, in a George and I's case, in the way that we fish, we've used forward facing, you know, not only just to catch a single fish or isolate a single fish, but I think more importantly was to isolate a certain structure and make the perfect cast on that structure. You know, the clump of grass on the edge of a lip that you saw on your 360, and then you dialed it in with the forward facing. There it is right there, and you make the cast, and it was perfect. You know what I mean? We had you had a lot of that. We had a lot of times where we used it to pinpoint ledges and isolated boulders, and not just cast a fish, but we used it to catch fish that were tucked in behind a boulder or a stump or a whatever. We used that a lot. So we also in conjunction, like you said, 360, it can be replaced. You can replace it with 360, purchase that or 360, and it does kind of like a lot of that stuff.
You can put it in that mode.
You can put it in that type of mode.
And if you have it, and I'm telling you, if you have it calibrated properly and you put it in what mode's that? Perspective mode.
Yeah.
You can see everything you can see in 360, but in real time. And like you said, if you guys are fishing those grass clumps or whatever, you can literally pick apart that grass clump like nobody else can.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but 2024 was the year of the conversation of the forward facing.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think we had to bring that up in our 2024 conversation for sure. The other thing that I want to say, and this is on the business side of fishing, is acquisitions. From the way the tackle industry is changing and the way that big companies are buying up all these other companies, to the point where in most cases it's making it better, more innovative products. They're doing all kinds of cool stuff when these companies come in and buy up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 different companies all under one umbrella, pump a lot of money into it. A lot of innovation comes out of it. You see Buckeye and all the innovations there, and some of these different companies, that was all by acquisition. All that money came in, and all the ideas that these lure makers have that they couldn't put out all at once. All this money came in, all these really cool products came out. Is it a good thing? Well, it's a good thing for tackle. Is it a good thing for the business industry? We don't know. We're going to find out. But there was a lot of acquisitions over the year, over 2024 of investment groups buying up a lot of these companies. It's kind of like a new thing that's going on. Great for tackle innovation. The industry is going to find out if it's good or not over the years. So that's to come. But pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to talk about that and think about it and see how it affects the whole entire industry. So pretty good stuff. But they'll also go along with you, Nick, the minnow bait explosion on this planet has been crazy. Every kind of minnow bait you can possibly imagine has come out onto the market. And
well, Nick nailed it. That scented jerk shad and that Strike King Baby Z2 and Z2 have certainly dominated that segment with just countless tour level victories. And if you've ever had an opportunity to fish those baits, they're phenomenal. The nice thing I like about it is I can drop shot one of those by threading it onto a straight shanked hook.
That's a great way to do it.
And I can fish the same bait all day long. And when I'm forward facing, like 99% of what I personally forward face is a scented jerk shad or a baby Z2 or a Z2. And like, you don't need to have, I have a small binder. That's it. You don't need to have a ton of baits. But the other thing I learned about the forward facing is sizing your baits up. It's not necessarily just a finesse thing. It's finesse fishing. But if you looked at like the Elite Series event on Champlain, I believe it was Jacob Fouts. He was fishing the 7-inch scented jerk shad.
Going for the big boys.
And as it turns out, he was far from alone.
Yeah, a lot of guys threw a bunch of big baits.
And a lot of times when you have fish that are targeting on a specific size bait and there's an abnormal amount of that bait, it's really good to go opposite. You know, it's kind of like a curiosity thing. So don't be afraid to size up your presentations there as well. And as we've learned with, you know, any type of bass fishing, you know, as we're growing in the swim bait thing, I mean, the mag draft won the award for the soft swim bait, but this was the most impactful hard swim bait for us this year. That's a shad.
Well, you know,
it's not that big.
The swim bait world,
but they eat it.
Yeah, the swim bait world is a crazy world, and it's exploding in 2024. It absolutely exploded at least in our area. Guys started throwing and getting into throwing glide baits and big swim baits. I mean, it's just something that's exploding in our area. There's a lot more people doing it now than ever has. And the nice thing about the Chad Shad is it's a very high quality bait that is knocked off of a custom bait. You know what I mean? It's got it has a custom feel to it without the price. You know, it's not a custom bait. It's not the what do they call that stuff they use?
Resin.
It's not a resin bait. So resin bait has a certain thing about it that you really only get in custom baits. But this thing was designed by the guy who kind of started that whole kind of bait world, and with the chat, what was called the Chad Shad, and he worked with Spro on this, and you have a bait that is $59 that he would sell his resin one for $159.
Yeah, he was very specific with what he was looking for.
Oh, absolutely. He was, and George and I got a chance to talk to him when he came out with it, and it's
a great bait.
He was like, listen, this is the best plastic bait, closest thing to what you're going to find on a resin out there. He said, because I kept sending them back.
It was clearly the best glide bait I threw this year.
You know, I kept sending it back, until I got it right. And so that was, I think that's pretty fair statement on that style of bait, that's the best one out there.
Now, something else I want to bring up before we close out is 2025 plans. We had a great meeting the other day with Greg and with Nick, Mike and I, and we put together a nice little schedule of we're going back on the water live.
We're going live.
Yes. We're going back on the water, back live. We were too busy, or we thought we were too busy, and we kept putting it off. So we decided that, our live on the water shows have been just astronomically successful. So we scheduled 5 of them. So in 2025, we're going live at least 5 times on multiple different locations. We're going to fish the upper Chesapeake Bay. We're going to fish the upper Susquehanna. We're going to fish the lower Susquehanna. We're going to fish some small South Jersey reservoirs.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going live.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We can't wait.
That's where it's at. You know what I mean?
And we're going to put the schedule out. Once we get it set as far as the dates, but it's going to be from spring through fall. And we're going to be heavy on the, summer and fall, just because spring's such a busy time for all of us involved. But that's a big thing I got here. 25 plans.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're, we had a great year. We had a phenomenal year, with our fishing. I think our fishing was as good as it's ever been for us. Wouldn't you say, Nick, was a great year?
I thought it was a great year.
From all of our tournament fishing to all of our fun fishing to all of our expeditions that we did. The only one that kind of pissed me off was the Keys in the hurricane. That whole bucket list thing kind of fell through. I have to replan that. But it was a great year. I had a great time fishing. I think we all did. We talked, and we all had some great opportunities and caught some great fish. We learned a lot. We didn't catch them the way we did in past years. So we had to catch them in new ways and expand our fishing the way we wanted to. So that was pretty cool. And 2025 moving forward, Tackle Shop Live is going to be every week on Thursday at 7:00. Other than holidays, and if we have to go traveling somewhere, something comes up, but
that's not different than it's ever been.
We're going to try to do our 52 weeks like we always do. And we're going to bring you, the same type of content, but we're going to try to mix up as best as possible. We're going to have some different types of people on as guests. And this is a shoot from the hip type of show, that the way we do things is just, we plan it the best we can, but it's fun because we don't know where our show is going to go all the time. It just kind of goes where it goes. We have George has his book, the TSL 3.0.
Well, I was going to say that, Mike, because believe it or not, a lot of thought goes into
it. Does.
Show.
Our shows are very well thought out, and it's all in the TSL book. Now we're on TSL 3.0. We're in 3 books now.
We believe that, George.
And he writes it all down, and we work out a script, but a lot of it's very loose stuff, and I think it makes for good content. We're excited about doing it. We appreciate you guys, man. 2025, you guys just really showed up, and we appreciate it. We love doing the show. We love all the comments, and we love talking fish and tackle and fishing. That's what's in our blood. So,
hey guys, I do want to ask you something real quick. Put your crystal ball, put it out there.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. In 2025, we just talked about all the main things that are going on for 2024 that we liked, that we've seen, that we fished.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be a brand new thing of any sort come out in 2025 that's going to change much?
I wish I had a crystal ball that would say it, so I could get in.
Do you see it happening?
There's always something, Nick. There's, we've been in this business long enough that there's always something that changes the sport of fishing, whether it's tournament fishing or some sort of fishing. There's always something that changes. Craziness. Is it going to be next year, or is it going to jump that year and go to the following year? And what is it going to be? Who knows what it's going to be? Yeah. But there's always going to be something. There's going to be. At ICAST, we're going to go, and we're going to come back from that. We're going to go, what in the holy hell? How do we live without this? How do we live without this bait? How do we live without that? And every year, so yeah, I think, I don't know what they can do with rods anymore. I don't know what they can do with reels. That's going to be so innovative that it totally changes the world but there's a lot of baits that can come out. There's a lot of lures that can come out. Electronics, of course, everybody's going to sharpen their pencils. All the companies are going to sharpen their pencils on the forward facing side of things. There's going to expand in that. Line, can they do much more with line anymore?
I think you're seeing 25, Nick.
Are you?
That's what ICAST was all about. There's not going to be a whole lot that pops after that. 26 maybe. There's a few rumblings and grumblings. I know the boys at Z-Man have got something going on. It's pretty cool.
They always got something working.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. But now's not the time. But I will say, I think you're going to be excited with a couple of the Bassmaster Classic releases that I've seen coming. Big changes and refinements, but nothing what your question was about.
Yeah, nothing earth shattering that we see.
But it's going to be, those
going to be some cool stuff.
Those releases that I've seen so far look really, really awesome.
Yeah.
But I think 26 is the year. And the good thing is, guys, in July, we're going to go down to Florida and figure that out.
We're going to see it all.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a fun time.
That's right.
So all I want to say is, you guys, thank you so much from George and I and Nick. We appreciate you, and Happy New Year. We're not going to see you, until after the New Year. So Happy New Year to everybody.
Day one.
Yeah.
Day one.
Happy New Year to everybody, and have a safe holiday. And if you don't stop back, have a very prosperous New Year and new 2025. Very excited for it. And until next time, we will catch you at the next 2025 Tackle Shop Live.
Right there, you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day, you called me up. You told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down low and I am blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. I woke up all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile.